Good evening and welcome to Fellowships of the Spirit's Fireside Chat. We are very pleased to have with us one of our earlier graduates of our School of Spiritual Healing and Prophecy, Drew Pearson, from the class of 1994. Drew has been active with Fellowships, been on our board of directors. He's been very active in the organization for many, many years, and we're very glad to have him do our talk this evening. Drew, take it away.
Okay, thanks, Mark. On such a great weekend as Memorial Day, I was going through my thought files, and I remembered the quote by, Václav Havel, the Czech to the communists. He was a dissident to the Czechs that supported him, became president of the Czech Republic. And obviously, Václav Havel had a lot to do with gaining independence from the Soviet Union at the time. So he was also a writer, an author, and he did a bunch of other things too. He has a lot of quotes. He passed away in 2011, and he has a great quote for the idea of hope. And this is a good paragraph long, so bear with me, folks. Here it is. Hope is a state of mind, but not of the world. Either we have hope or we don't. It is a dimension of the soul, and it's not essentially dependent on some particular observation of the world or estimate of the situation. Hope is not prognostication. It is an orientation of the spirit and orientation of the heart. It transcends the world that is immediately experienced and is anchored somewhere beyond its horizons. Hope in this deep and powerful sense is not the same as joy that things are going well, or willingness to invest in enterprises that are obviously heading for success, but rather an ability to work for something because it is good, not just because it stands a chance to succeed. The more propitious the situation in which we demonstrate hope, the deeper the hope is. Hope is definitely not the same thing as optimism. It is not the conviction that something will turn out well, but the certainty that something makes sense, regardless of how it turns out. To me, that's hands down greatest quote in giving a sense of what a lot of us, no pun intended, and a lot of us really hope for, not only in our personal selves, in our personal lives, with our community, family, friends. And it's something that is always, always, always there. No matter how much a person is brought down, if they have this sense of hope, there's always a ladder to climb. There's always an anchor to have. And as he says in one part, it is an orientation of the spirit, an orientation of the heart. Wow. You get 2 for 1. Orientation of the spirit and orientation of the heart. So those 2 parts of that sentence, you have source, you have God, orientation of hope, and then you have the connection of source to our physical self, which I think a lot of us believe is truly the heart. And it works within both realms. So you have what is generating to become success, generating to become part of this world. And also, it's already within us to have those things. And this is every second of our day, every minute of our day, every hour of our day, every thought of our day. It's also everything that we can perceive with our five senses and beyond those senses. So it's the ability to work for something because it is good, not just because it stands a chance to succeed. So now it's in relationship to goodness, to joy, to having a mindset that everything turns out for the better, for the good, for your family, for yourself, for community, for the world. I mean, it's just such beautiful, beautiful wording. And then he goes on to state, the more propitious the situation in which we demonstrate hope, the deeper the hope is. Propitious is a nice way of saying basically the stage is set, or setting the rest of the stage. And from being connected to the orientation of spirit and having that orientation come into our heart, that expression of how to set the stage, and literally for us in the physical, it also denotes we don't have to build the stage. The stage is already there. Awesome. Just incredible. So what do you want on the stage? What would you like to have there? For me, it's just giving out jokes, giving out hugs, having a smile on my face, sharing those things, and allowing people to go their way. Don't really necessarily have to train them or instruct them, because if all of us literally walk with this stage set in our heart, then literally we are what we are inside, and we are source, we are God, we are spirit. And this perpetuation of the orientation of spirit transcends the world that we immediately experience. And as Havel says, is anchored somewhere beyond its horizons. So once again, there's this beautiful connection between source being 24/7 and how we are that divine spirit walking this physical plane. And what I like to say is being source. One of the things I came up with is basically the biggest responsibility we have down here is being creators, creating creation. That's it. Everything else is icing on the cake, putting candles on the cake, lighting them up and blowing them out and going, thank goodness source is on my side, because source is always there. Spirit is always there. So that idea of being more propitious is in any situation that you come to. It doesn't matter if you're down, depressed, sullen for some reason. You may want to stay there for a bit and then jump on stage. The stage of spirit, the stage of your heart, and bring that. And when you're ready, just open the curtain. and be there. And this is where it's not just for optimism. It's not just for motivation. It's not a conviction for things turning out well. It's just that it makes sense. Regardless of how it turns out, once again, 24/7, every thought you think, every moment you have in this lifetime, every breath you take, it just makes sense that source is with you, spirit is with you. And that connection never diminishes. It may feel as though you're not connected. However, that is totally false. Because hope is a state of mind, and it's not of this world. So, where is it that hope is? It's in our mind, it's in our heart, and it's definitely from spirit. It's definitely from source. I mean, how cool is that? That is so awesome. And what we find out through the years of our experiences is there's one stage that is always there from spirit. There is one stage that can change due to what spirit brings us through our heart. And those physical changes are us deciding, okay, I'm going to do some spirituality work. And as I do that spirituality work, all of a sudden something opens up. And whether it's stage left or stage right, you're right. So wherever that direction takes you, wherever that feeling, that experience, it brings you into source. It brings you into your spirit. It keeps you connected through your heart. And so much of this in today's world is not really discussed that much. You don't really hear a lot of people saying, hey, your source 24/7, believe it. And because that stage is so solid and set in God's love, in divine grace, in sure bliss and beauty, it can never be taken away. It can never be destroyed. And yet somehow hope has gotten sort of stepped on. And the beauty of this is it's just a reminder to add that stage from source and pick up the physical source through your own stage. And once again, just build that stage of hope, build that stage of heart. There's so many ways to do it. One of the things I love doing, especially before going to bed and before getting out of bed, is just for about a minute, just saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's not thank you for this, it's not thank you for that. It's just thank you. And to me, that's one of the best, if you want to call it a prayer. It's real quick. And you can keep saying it. And so as I go to sleep, a lot of the times I get these wonderful and sometimes silly dreams all the time. And some of them are totally silly. But at the same time, I know there's that essence of hope coming through in the dream state. And as I wake up, I sort of smile and snicker at some of the dreams. And other times there's dreams that's going, hey, give a lot of thank yous for that one and write some of that information down. It may seem silly at the moment of waking up and remembering the dream. However, it may mean something later on. And this is the beauty of hope. It's not to be taken as something that is just going well or a successful enterprise. Hope is making sense regardless of how it turns out. And that type of beauty and that type of heartfelt connection to source will always, always be an anchor and be a ladder, whichever one is needed. Hope can begin that climb up or that anchor to keep things from moving too quickly. So on this weekend, giving thanks, a lot of thank yous for those who served, and thank you for listening, folks. I hope you have a good long weekend.
Thank you, Drew. Thank you very much. Very inspiring. It's so important for all of us to keep drawing larger and larger perspectives on this subject of hope, especially these days.
Oh, yeah.
Coming out of a pandemic, coming out of economic downturns, all kinds of stuff. People struggle with that. And it's the quote from Havel. It was beautiful to frame your talk tonight. Thank you. Really good.
Awesome.
Really good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us each week at 6 o'clock on Sunday evenings for our Fireside Chat. It's Mark Thomas, and I will look forward to having you with us next week. And have a blessed week and a hope-filled week. Thank you.